And hello and Ciao as they say. Well, I don't know where they say it. I caught Arnold Rimmer saying it once on an episode of Red Dwarf. It might be Esperanto, I'm not sure, a made-up European language. But anyway, my name's Nick and I'm digressing already. Last week we brought you a nostalgic look back at the first 50 Spectrum games I reviewed on the channel, so it's only fitting then we do the next 50, going all the way from 51 to 100, so strap in, enjoy the ride, and I hope there's a few that you remember with fond memories. Review 51, this was PACMANIA. It's three-dimensional. I first played this on the Commodore Amiga. Very impressed with the Spectrum version. It doesn't use much of the screen, but it's great. The animation is cool. The collision detection is, well, it's a bit iffy sometimes, but it's okay. Power pills represented by a P. Not too much colour, but Pac-Man is yellow, so what much more can you ask for? Jumps, well, goes through the same colour. But, yeah, it uses the memory well. Now, R-Type. This is a classic shooter from the arcades. This is also a good conversion. Some games don't convert very well to the Spectrum, but this one was pretty nifty. All versions are quite tricky though, but colourful, moves quite well. I like this one. R-Type. Boom. Nice Starfield in the background as well, I have to say. I never completed the game, but there's not many games I did complete. 3 Weeks in Paradise. This is from the Wally series. Wally is on holiday, but his family are being kidnapped, yes, by cannibals. He has no luck, this person. Terrible colour bleed all the way through on this, but it is classic Spectrum. It's fun. There's large sprites there. You have to collect objects. It's very difficult to complete, but as I say, it is colour bleed city. Music is good. Turbo Outrun. Yes. It's got good speed, but like a lot of these racing games, it's very hard to see where you're going. Chase HQ is a lot better, which we'll come to in this as I crash. Not as good as the arcades. The best computer version I've played so far is on the Game Boy Advance. Spectrum struggles a little bit, but yeah, it's quite fast. It's got undulation. Transparency of the cars is a bit tricky, but I don't think they could have done anything about that. ROBOCOP, 8-bit game. It's quite very good, this one. It's sold by the bucket load. Was at #1 in the charts for almost a year, I believe. Good old Murphy. I've never been able to get this version to jump for some reason. The Amiga, he jumps all over the place. This one, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something I'm doing wrong, or maybe you couldn't jump at all. But it is my favourite cyborg out of the list of one I know. Good game, good game. Oh, I sound a bit like Bruce Forsyth then. Super Monaco Grand Prix. It's got good speed. The draw it gives you a bit of a distance so you can see where you're going. I'm not sure if this is the true sound of the game, well, whether I got a bit of feedback. I think it's a little bit of feedback. The track doesn't look much like Monaco, but overall it's a good one. Ayrton Senna didn't license this copy. It's the first game that had a rear view mirror, I think. As you can see up the top there, we can see what's behind us, and the actual racing, it does help a little bit. But you can drive straight through cars. Super Hang On from the arcades. This is a great game. I find it a lot easier than the Amiga version. Sound is okay. They go for yellow a lot in these driving games of Spectrum developers, you might notice this. But it was a good one to convert. Yeah, it does the speed really well, and that's the thing the Spectrum tends to struggle with on racing games, if it's good or bad. Has it got the speed? Well, this one has. Controls are quite intuitive, it's quite realistic. Galaxians, converted from the arcades. We'll also be showing Galaxian singular in a minute. One's official, one's not official. Can you guess which one? Boom. Yes. This one is a little bit slow, there's no stars in the background. That might have given you a clue. Nice sounds though, I like it. Typical Spectrum 48K. Boom! Oh, I'm dead. Dear me. Enduro Racer. You have to compare this with Super Hang On really. There's more stunts involved in this one. He sticks his leg out as he goes round the corners. We're pretty much cross-country off-road. So if Super Hang On was the tracks, this is the off-road super stunts. Oh, look at that. Quite good fun, and plays music throughout the game. Well, actually, it cuts off every now and again, but it's good. track's green, sky's blue, so they got that bit right. You're on a timer, you have to go through checkpoints, it's standard fare. Right, here's the official conversion. It's GALAXIAS singular. It's moving a lot quicker. There's a star field. It's more happening in this one. It's better animated. The sounds are a bit crisper, but I did like the sound of GALAXIAS as well, I have to be fair. But the star drop makes it on this, it makes you feel like you're actually travelling somewhere. It's you versus these random alien people. They will attack you, but why not? They don't seem to be shooting too much back. But it's classic retro action, this. Now, this wasn't a released game, tanks. It's one of these ones you type in. So you've got 2 tanks, player 1 and player 2. The idea is you have to guess your elevation and the strength and blow up the other opponent. Now, on this version, you have to be extremely precise. That's not very precise. Yes. Might as well be firing water at each other, to be honest. But it's a good one. It's a typing game. Is that going to hit? No. Championship Sprint. Now, I've played a lot of versions of Super Sprint and Champion Sprint on various systems. The Spectrum version I find the most difficult. It seems the most narrow, the cold controls seem a bit dodgy, and as you can see I've already been lapped, and I've only done 1 lap. Yeah, the turning circle's not great on this version. Graphically it looks brilliant. I'm sure you can get used to it if you keep playing it. But yes. Boom. All the classic bits are there. Now, Chase HQ, this is a brilliant game. Speed is good. Now, this is one of the best driving games in terms of being able to see where you're going. The car is just about small enough so you can see a lot of the road ahead. The other Spectrum games, or a lot of them, they made the car way too big, so although it was good graphically, you couldn't see where you was going, so it took away the gameplay. Chase HQ does that fantastically as we go through some crazy tunnel. But you can see where you're going, that's helpful. And attack! Absolute classic game, this one. You control either a man or a woman, and you have to control your beloved and not get killed and bitten by ants. This is level 1, so my beloved is just over here. My hero! Thank you very much. On later levels you have to, yes, you have to go deep into the maze. There's an ant there. Goodbye! Not this time, fellow. We've done it! Congratulations. Great game. One of the first isometric games, that one. Absolute classic. By Quicksilver. Now, Buggy Boy. They've made the car too big here. The Amiga version, it's smaller, it plays a bit better. But, yeah. It's not a bad game. It's just that the frame rate is poor. Yes. Use 2 gears, low and high. Very colourful. It's not bad, but could have been done a lot better. I like the map. That's a good bit of programming. Going red, seeing how far you've got round the track. The colours of the sky and track change every now and again. But, not the best. Test Drive 2. I first played this on the Commodore Amiga. Now, the best thing about this on the Spectrum version is the sound. How have they done this engine sound? That is a work of genius. Not quite as good as the Amiga version, but they've done much better than they really ought to have done. They've done brilliant. By Accolade, this, or Accolade if I want to speak properly. Animates quite well. Frame rate's not too bad compared to the more powerful Amiga version. It's a bit slippery though. Golden Axe, brilliant on every version. No version looks quite like this. You control either a dwarf, this barbarian woman, or this barbarian man. We've got the Thunder's Gilead, or whatever his name is. Quite very good fun, this one. Colourful. The graphics are good. Look at that stonework they've done with 8-bit graphics. No colour bleed, so that's a massive tick there. Free enemy on the screen at the same time with no slowdown. All player 2's turned up. That's Tyria. Operation Wolf on the ZX Spectrum. This is a bit ambitious, this one, but they haven't done too badly. Although it's ultra tricky. There's Duke Nukem or something. The object of this game is to shoot everything. Very tricky with the joysticks. We're trying to remote angle those crosshairs. With the gun of the arcade, you just point at what you want. That makes it a little bit tricky, but it's pretty good fun. They've done a good job here, monochrome as it is. Rescue the hostages. I'm trying. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Well, not a good version. Yes, what can I say about this? I want to be kind to it, but there's better versions about. My main complaint about this is it's a little bit tricky. What am I saying? It's tricky on every version. But this one, you jump up and then a zombie comes up behind you automatically. Worth it if you put the practice in like any game, but not one of my favourites this. I'd rather play it on a different system. Chase HQ2, it built on the controls of Chase HQ1. I still like the original better than this though. This one seems a little bit jerky. You can see a little distance in front of you, better than a lot of them, except if you do a boost. Different coloured tracks start off in, well, purple's a bit of an odd one. Should go through a tunnel soon and the track changes to white. There we go, so that keeps it going. For the original, that's not too bad. Afterburner! They've done a fantastic job on this. Look at the animation going on. Good. Set over different levels, come out on just about everything. You have to destroy planes and advance as far as you can without getting shot down in your F-14 Tomcat. Oh, the red alert signs up. Well, we know about this. You can do a barrel roll sometimes, but not every time, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Boom. Want to play this on the PlayStation, really. Finders Keepers. At the moment, at time of recording, I'm going through the series of these ones. There's Stormbringer, Nighttime, and the other one whose name I can't quite remember. But Spellbound, that's it. But I prefer the original much better. It seems a tighter game. Graphically, it's more sound. It's more colourful. The animation is better. There's a lot more going on. It's almost as if it's done by different coders. The rooms have got different names. Finders Keepers is the best. Don't know what there's going on with the other ones. Chess. What can you say about chess? Well, not much. This is by Melbourne House. You can change the colour of the board. The computer AI is quite good. You've got 9 levels there. It's a solid chess game. Although the ZX Spectrum 48K might get a bit hot if you have a long game. Boom. Chess. Hooray. Herbert's Dummy Run. This is also in the Wally series, quite near the end. Looks practically the same as Pyjama-Rama. You go around with tremendous colour bleed, like 3 Weeks in Paradise. And, yes, you're stuck in a department store. By collecting these objects, put them in the right place, you can escape. But at the department store, everything's been left on for some reason, and it's incredibly dangerous for a baby. Especially this bit. What are they selling here? Lilos? Imminent death, I think. Hunchback by OUTRUN. Originally, this is supposed to be called Robin Hood, I think. Right, we have to complete each level. That's obvious, and ring this bell. With each level, there's a increased different hazards. This is a rope swing bridge, and ironically, I find this level harder than quite a lot of the other ones to come. The map down the bottom right shows your progress throughout the level. But the detection here is sometimes a little bit iffy. OUTRUN EUROPA. Yes, it's okay. Would have been better in colour, and I think there is a colour version about, but it wasn't commercially released. On the Commodore Amiga, it's a fantastic little game. This one, it's a game only a mother could love, I think, whoever wrote it. Written it, that's what I want. But yeah, I don't enjoy this one too much. Although the idea is good, outrun on a motorbike. If you get to various different levels, you change vehicles, so that's a good touch. Hard driving. This is me already crashed, because in hard driving, on the Spectrum at least, the controls are so slippery you spend most of your time off the road, especially if you're rubbish. I was quite good on the arcade version. This version, yeah, not so much. Steering with a joystick here, you have to do everything at the right speed, and this definitely isn't the right speed. This is miles too quickly. By Domark, this one, but hard driving, you must have heard of it. It's a classic on the arcades, not so much the Spectrum. Quasimodo 2, the sequel. He looks more like a Quasi now. The levels are a bit multi-platform, so it's advanced here. But the idea is the same. Collect all the bells, and then ring the top bell at the top there. Boom. I'm doing quite good, aren't I? What could possibly go wrong? Well, this... Whoa, that was close. So each... Oops. In further levels you have to boat to jump on. The Flintstones, one of the most boring games of all time. This game is pretty much like watching paint dry as we look at the first level where Fred Flintstone has to paint a wall. Yeah, that's it. The license of the Flintstones, everything they could have done with dinosaurs and cars and bowling and stuff, and we're painting. I think they do go bowling eventually, but that isn't much more exciting. Painting is as good as it gets. Good font though, I'd say that. No music. Where's the Flintstones music? This game is bad. Nose of YESOD. Now, to be any good at this game, you have to collect the imp at the start before you go below the surface. There he is, because this imp thing cuts through walls. On my original review, I didn't pick this thing up, and so progress was almost impossible. But I've got it here now for this recap. Better late than never. So now we can walk through there. What's through here? We'll have to collect some pieces of the alchemy to escape. Right, Tarantula. I missed this first time round. This come from a recommendation, and I have to say it's really good. Controls a bit like Jetpack. It moves at 100 miles an hour, but we have to collect all these egg things and then escape. There's about a zillion interlocking levels. A map would help. Oops, all these aliens, creatures seem attracted to you very slowly, so that's why you got to move around quick. It's a good one, this. 10 out of 10. I was going to say 10 out of 5 then, but that wouldn't make any sense. POWERDRIFT from the arcades. Now this version's also more playable than the Amiga version, which has terrible graphics pop up. But this is good fun. It moves at a hell of a lick. There's crazy undulation which isn't easy for the Spectrum to control. There's lots of different tracks. You have to finish in the top 3 each time, or is it 4? I can't remember, to qualify. But it's good. I like that way it turns round. It's a good challenge. I would keep coming back to this one. It's a Spectrum winner. Out of racing games, you'd have to put this in your top 5. Well, I would. Cauldron 2, I reviewed this round Halloween. I don't know why I reviewed Cauldron 2 before Cauldron 1. But it's Pumpkins versus the Witch. You control this bouncing pumpkin. There's quite an interesting character here. You won't get any other character that moves like this. By pressing fire button a long time, he jumps higher. In Cauldron 1, it was the Witch versus the pumpkin. So you're putting everything back to how it was in this sequel. Well, that's the general idea anyway. Witches versus pumpkins. They hate each other. And here is the original, Cauldron. You control this witchy woman. She wouldn't get on the cover of Vogue or anything. But by collecting keys, she can go through doors and collect objects. It's the normal fare. And you have to avoid getting hit by anything. Look, there's a pink door, so we have to get a pink key. So we fly around here looking for a... Well, it's not pink, is it? I always say pink. It's magenta. So we fly around here looking for a magenta key. But you'd have to say this was a classic game. Cauldron. Dragon Ninja. Doesn't work too well in monochrome, this. But there's a lot of characters moving on the screen at the same time, so that's a plus. They've done well there. There's a variety of moves, kicks and punches, but it's not one that I'll return to a lot of times. I prefer Saboteur, which I haven't actually reviewed yet. End of level boss time. Who is this person? He's standing next to a bar of chocolate. Or is that a big wall? Yes. You always feel with these games they should move a little bit quicker, but that somersault animation was quite good. Underworld by Ultimate. Everything by Ultimate is fantastic. Boom. It's in the Night Law series, this one, although it looks very different to Night Law. You're stuck in this castle house thing and you have to escape. You've got 6 lives left. If you fall down too far, you're dead. There's a number of exits to this. Oops, there we go. You can jump on bubbles to get out, and there's quite an intuitive, quite a fun, there we go, fun rope it was. Ark of YESOD, the sequel to Nose of YESOD. This time we're actually on the alien planet as opposed to the moon, but the premise is the same, although the graphics are better. You have to collect pieces of this special alchemy thing and then escape. Boom, oops. You do a somersault every time you jump. Again, I should have collected something on the surface so I can fire through walls. So the premise is the same as Nose of YESOD, but as I say, it's a superior game. I don't think it's sold quite as well. Future games. Now this is a very odd game. It's like 5 games in one, really. There's racing on the surface by some alien spaceship. There's one bit where you jump on different moons to avoid meteors. Yeah, and there's a Defender type clone, and then there's this weirdness. We've got to avoid obstacles, get to the start, and before we get to 9999. Pick this one up if you can, it's bizarre. There's a spider we have to go under as well. Pentagram, also in the Night Law series. This is the last one they released. Again, it's a 3D isometric one that Ultimate seem to be so good at. I use this engine for quite a lot. Looks beautiful, but you know, kids of age 10 and below, I don't think many of them would have completed this, and me included. I prefer Night Lord of all of them, but I didn't even complete that one either. Those games are so similar they could pretty much be all drawn together. Silkworm 4. Brave to attempt this on the Spectrum, but they did well. It's yellow on yellow, but because the borders of the objects are so bold and they're shadowing, which Flying Fox had but not enough, it outlines the player so you can pretty much see what you're doing, which always helps in a shoot 'em up. This just game, it's not over levels, it just goes on and on and on until you die. And then I died, but you got certain amount of lives. Yeah, so, and here's the original. Silkworm 1 is a horizontal scroller as opposed to a vertical one, and I think I preferred this one. Player 2 controls the Jeep down below there. Player 1 is on much more exciting helicopter. Starfield in the background, that's good. Yeah, I think overall I like 2D shooters more than, not 2D, horizontal shooters more than vertical ones. It just looks more retro, really. Kaboom, and I'm dead. No, I'm still going. Watch yourself. Xenon. This is a bit lackluster, this one. Very hard as well, easy to die. You can control this tank thing, which can turn into a fighter if you want. But why bother? It's blue on blue. There isn't too much shadowing like Silkworm 4 has got, so it's a bit hard to see what you're doing. But it's okay. It isn't disastrous. It's not bad. But could do better. Yes. Xenon. Xenon 2 didn't come out on the Spectrum, I don't think. Flight Simulation. On the Spectrum. Now this is a very early game. It came out on the ZX81 as well. It uses the memory well, but don't expect to learn how to fly a plane. You can do different modes, learn to land, take off, and there's in-flight where you have to go to different areas of the map. Or you could just muck about and crash it like I'm doing. Pull up! I don't know where I am now. What's all these dials doing? Yes, kaboom, I remember that. 3D Death Chase. This is inspired by Return of the Jedi, I think. Anyway, you're going through the woods. You've got this bike thing you're on. You have to shoot. There's one blam. You have to shoot 2 bikers over various levels. There's night stages, day stages. But with each level it gets more and more trees. I know. Sound is great. Couldn't get the sound working on my review, alas, but it's working now. We've killed them both. Night Patrol, but it's the same game. Head over heels? No, this isn't by Ultimate. This is by Ocean. Using the same 3D isometric system, or one very similar. I don't know if money changed hands, but you control 2 characters in this, head and heels. They both got different qualities to them, different movements, and using them both you have to do something or other. Same old fare. But it's quite good, as isometric games go. I prefer Batman. I think that might come into this. Dead. LIGHTFORCE. Now, this is a great vertical scrolling shoot 'em up. I'm not sure about the graphics of the thing you're controlling. It looks a bit like a sewing machine, but there's no colour bleed in this. So that's brilliant. Look, white going over purple there, white going over yellow. You expect the Spectrum to have struggle with that, but programming, they've done a genius job here, and it is fun. It feels unique. It's nice and colourful. It's a little bit tricky, but I say that about all racing games. Double Dragon. Yes, this doesn't really capture the arcades. If you want a fighting game on the Spectrum, well, I don't know what to suggest really. It hasn't got too many good ones. IK Plus is good. Double Dragon, yeah. If you haven't seen the arcade version, this might not be too bad, this, if you can put up with it, but it's a bit lethargic. But compared to Double Dragon 2, it's fantastic. Background's good. Here we go, IK Plus. One of my favourite games, if not favourite fighting game on the ZX Spectrum. I like Yia Kung Fu as well, which we covered in the first 50 games reviewed, if you want to have a look at that. But this is good. This is good. It moves very fast. Instead of red, blue and white in the Amiga version and the other version, we've got grey, white and black. And I want to kick your head, but I can't. Batman, a 3D isometric game. Batman looks like Adam West. He looks like he's had too many pies. Yes. A nice fun game. You have to collect 8 bits of the Batmobile so you can then rescue Robin. You can't jump at the start, but if you collect some bat boots from somewhere, then you suddenly get that ability. There's a few other things to collect as well. Every creature you see in it, you won't see in a Batman thing. I think there was a licensing problem. Double Dragon 2, and this was the 100th Spectrum game reviewed, and man was it disappointing. It uses a letterbox thing. Level 1 is by far the longest level, and then they only last, you only have to like beat 1 or 2 people and it's the end of the next level. Scrolls badly, can't keep up. It's monochrome, collision detection is awful. This is an awful game. But anyway, I just punched her in the face. Maybe she wrote it. I can pretend that she did. So, yep, I hope you've liked that nostalgia trip once again, having a look through those. And, yeah, till next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.